I do videos for guys principally. I mean, my audience is 97% male, right? But this video is an exception. This video is for women, specifically pretty women. I'm making this video for a girl who's like, I don't know, between 18 and 25, okay? You are at the peak of your sexual attractiveness and you have no idea what's going on in your life now, and you have no idea what's going to hit you in a few very short years. And I'm here to tell you, I'm here to give you a warning, okay? If you're a pretty girl, your life is not going to be particularly happy unless you're careful. And I'm going to explain why. You see, you're a pretty girl. You're a pretty baby, okay? You're a very pretty baby, grew into a pretty little toddler, a pretty little child. You hit puberty and you came out looking beautiful, you know? And of course, when you were younger, you were tall and gawky, you know, perhaps over skinny and what have you, but slowly you grew into yourself, you filled out and all the rest of it. And now you're like 20 years old and you're hot as can be and everybody is nice to you, right? That's what's going on. Everybody that you meet is so incredibly nice to you. And now, if you're not a complete idiot, you've probably noticed that other people don't have it as good as you. Other people do not receive the red carpet treatment that you get, yeah? I mean, you go to some restaurant with some guy, right? And maybe you don't have a reservation, but they just glance at you and automatically there's a table for you. You know, you go to the DMV to take the driver's test or what have you, and you screw it up and they give you another shot at it, right? I mean, you get opportunities that other people do not get. And if you're very stupid or very unself-aware or not noticing what's going on around you, you think that this is perfectly natural. But if you're relatively smart, you will have noticed that other people don't have the luck that you do. But at the same time, it's so intoxicating, all of this attention, all of this, the goodness that comes your way. Everybody wants to do nice things for you. And they always want to invite you to the nice places. And they always want to invite you to the nice places, and they want to take your picture, and maybe they give you free clothes, they give you free stuff. Yeah, I've seen it. I've dated really hot girls who get all kinds of fringe benefits, and they don't even realize how unusual it is. And I'm not talking about stupid women. I mean, the girls I dated, I mean, like, yeah, I'm a snob about dating pretty girls. I'm not going to go out with an ugly girl, but I'm not going to go out with a stupid girl either. And even with the really fucking smart ones, I mean, the ones who had like serious IQ points, even they sometimes didn't realize how unusual it was that they were getting all this stuff. They didn't realize it. They thought it was, you know, perfectly normal that everybody was treated this way. And the fact of the matter is, they're not. Now, if you're a pretty girl, you are getting a whole boatload of fringe benefits that have nothing to do with who you are. And this is a key thing. It's not you. It's because you are sexually attractive. Everybody wants to think that they are the reason that people act a certain way or they don't, right? But in the case of a young woman, a sexually attractive young woman, a pretty girl, like I said, between 18 and 25, yeah, you are really two women. On the one hand, you are you, the person inside you, the person who has read certain books and has had certain experiences and has certain viewpoints and what have you. But on the other hand, you are this sexual shell, an exterior that you project out into the world. And what you are projecting out into the world is something really that is beyond your control and is not yours in a very real sense. It's something that you have for a brief time. And it's this sexual attractiveness. Now, this sexual attractiveness is provocative to both sexes and to people of all ages. It is provocative to human beings as a species, see? Because an attractive young girl, an attractive young woman between 18 and 25, she is at the peak of her sexual fertility. She is at the peak of her fertility, and at the same time she's very attractive. This is the highest status in the sexual hierarchy. And so men and women of all ages are going to react very, very favorably towards you, not because of who you are, but because of this costume that you're wearing, this fertility that you're projecting out into the world. And this fertility It touches every human being because we want the best for that girl, you, because you represent, or let me phrase this costume that you're wearing, that you cannot, of course, take off, this costume of fertility signals to everybody the future. Potentially, you can have a lot of children, a lot of healthy children, healthy and beautiful children. See? And automatically, as a species, we all are, not just guys, but we are all human beings. We are affected by this aura that you are projecting, that you don't even realize you are projecting. And we want the best for that because of what you carry. You carry hope, the potential for many beautiful, healthy children. And that's why men, women, old, young, every social class, we will do everything for you because of this fertility that you are projecting. And it's not you personally. We don't really give a shit about you. We are reacting to this fertility that you are projecting. That you are projecting and in a very real sense have no control over. Okay? And you are the beneficiary of our goodwill. You see what's going on? Now, insofar as guys are concerned, guys do not give a shit about you as a person. They don't care. They don't care. They will say that they do. Okay? Every man you meet, okay, every man that you could potentially see yourself as a mate, right? Every man you meet does not give a shit about you and your feelings. No. They only care about the fact that you're hot. Yes, and you can ask any guy watching this video. Hey, get some friend of yours, some gay guy maybe. You know, gay guys are great because they will give you true advice because they are not interested in you sexually. They just want to butterfly around you, right? Because of that fertility that you're projecting. But that's for another conversation or later in this video. I don't know. But anyway, the point is, see, every guy wants to fuck you. Every guy looks at you as like the biggest prize because you are a beautiful, healthy young woman at the peak of her fertility. And so every young guy, or any guy period, right, even an old fart like me at 51, yeah, I'm gonna find you incredibly hot and I want to bang your brains out. And you say any stupidity and I'll just put up with it. No matter how foolish what you're saying is, I'm not gonna counteract or contradict you. No. You say that, the sky is green and 2 + 2 is 5, and I'll say, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're so smart. You're so smart. How was it that I never realized that the sky is green and 2 + 2 is 5? You're a genius. And I'll flatter your ass and say all kinds of lies to get you into bed. Of course. Every guy is going to do that. Every guy. No exception. Because we don't care about you. We just care about fucking you. We care about that exterior carapace, that costume, that sexual fertility that you're dressed up in and walking around in and projecting non-stop. That's what we're interested in. Yeah? By the same token that an older woman, way past menopause, will look at you very kindly and will do all sorts of things for you. Yeah, because she sees you as the future of the species in an inarticulate way. I mean, she might not be able to articulate this, might not even realize it, but she will treat you better. The only people who treat you worse are, of course, the girls who were formerly pretty, but no longer are. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the girls who are over 35. Yeah, those girls, those women. The women who are over 35, but before menopause. Yeah, that is your future fate. Your future fate. Yeah, those are the girls who hate you. Oh yeah. Those are the girls who used to be you, but then they hit the wall, as it's called. In game we talk about the wall. The wall is the moment when a woman is no longer as sexually attractive as she used to be. And it's a sudden change, okay? It's a sudden change in the sense that, one day a woman is like, 30, maybe 32 even, and she's still got it. She's still hot. I mean, she's aging. Her tits are not as perky as they used to be, but she's still got it. Maybe she goes to the gym and takes care of herself, and she's still kind of tight, right? But all of a sudden, like between 32 and 35, the guys are just no longer interested in her. And she hits 37 and she's practically invisible to the guys, to the hot guys, to the guys that she used to be able to get, that you used to be able to get. Yeah, what happens is that, see, a girl hits a wall, that wall of, between 33 and 37, it's not the same for every woman. It's just sort of like a range. But by the time they're 40, every woman has hit it. Yeah, that's the end of their sexual attractiveness. Yeah. They might be able to pretend that they are still sexually attractive. Yeah, with makeup and hair coloring and plastic surgery and all the rest of it. Yeah, I mean, the whole beauty industry is created for what? It's basically makeup. Well, they call it makeup, but what's it trying to do? It's trying to make a woman fool other people into thinking that a woman is still as sexually attractive, is still as fertile as she used to be in the past. See? A girl who's 20 and walking around without makeup, yeah, and she didn't really fix her hair, she just brushed it a little bit and that's it, and she's walking around with no makeup, she's fucking hot. For a woman who is 40 to put out the same effect, she has to dye her hair, she has to put on a couple of layers of makeup and put them on just perfectly, just right, in order to fool the casual observer into thinking that she is as fertile as she used to be when she was 20. See? A 20-year-old girl, when she was 20, she just walked around and she was just like that. She was just like, it was natural. She hits 40 and she has to pretend. She's not the real deal anymore. Huh? And that's the cruelty of nature. I mean, that's the thing that young women, pretty girls like you, have not been told. Nature is fucking cruel and will be cruel to you. Yeah, because the reality is that, see, a woman hits her sexual peak in terms of looks, in terms of sexual attractiveness, like I said, between the ages of 18 and 25, okay? Again, it's a range. It's different for different women. Some women peak out when they're like 16, and some women peak out when they're 27, okay? That's not the point. The point is that, see, it's a range of their sexual attractiveness, of their peak sexual attractiveness. It's that fertility window. And as a woman starts to age, right, she starts to lose her looks. And the fact of the matter is, when a woman hits 32, she is 70% as likely to get pregnant as when she was 22. And when a woman is 37, she is 70% less likely to get pregnant than when she was 32. That is, her fertility drops from a peak at 21, 22, it drops and then drops catastrophically after that, okay? The odds of getting pregnant naturally, of course. I mean, of course, you can take heroic measures and in vitro fertilization and all that shit. Yeah, sure, but naturally, a woman's fertility drops precipitously after the age of 32. And you don't have to take my word for it. Google it, look it up, it's all over the fucking place, right? And so what happens is that, see, because of it, men instinctively know that, a woman over 32, 35, 37, they're not going to waste their time on her because she's not fertile, okay? They might not be thinking about this consciously, but in their DNA, and again, this is not socialized. This is the way human beings are. We are not socialized this way, no. We are socialized into religion, we are socialized into driving on the left side of the road or the right side of the road. But this kind of human reaction is built into us, and every guy will dismiss a woman over 37 unless he can't get laid with anybody else. Yeah. Okay? And it's cruel, and it's unfortunate for you as a pretty girl that you peaked out at 21, and by the time you're 37, nobody will give you the time of day. But that's the truth. That's the truth that nobody's going to tell you, but that everybody knows. And the other thing that nobody's going to tell you is that, see, most guys, they peak in their 40s, okay? Most guys, they peak out when they're like 45, 47, yeah? That's pretty much the peak of a guy, okay? When they're, 20, 25, 30 even, they're fumbling buffoons. They don't know shit about anything, okay? They don't have any resources. They don't have any experience. But as they grow and mature, right, they start hitting their late 30s, then early 40s. By the time they're 45, they usually have their shit pretty organized insofar as the money situation is concerned. Either they have like very good long-term prospects insofar as their career is concerned. They have like a very, very solid business by the time they're 45, 47. And have you noticed that, yeah, sure, like a young guy who's like 20, he's really hot and all the rest of it. But you put that 20-year-old guy next to a 45-year-old man who's got his shit together, and who do you find more attractive? Huh? I mean, like, there are a lot of examples. And look around. A guy who's 45, who's in decent shape, and he's got his shit organized. He's going to be at the peak. He's going to be able to get whoever he wants. And that's nature. Because, again, it goes to our evolution. See? In evolutionary terms, a woman will always want a guy who's socially established. And that kind of social establishment, that kind of gravitas, it can only be acquired through time. And that's why a man who's 45 is going to be way bigger in terms of gravitas than a man who's 20. Yeah, and he's going to get more women, and that's life. All this shit is unfair, but you can't fight it. Okay. And why am I bringing this up? To emphasize the point that I'm trying to make to you who are a girl of 20, 21. See, this life is unfair. And the good times that you have now, they're going to end. They're going to end, so you ought to be thinking to yourself what you want from life. Huh? I mean, you want to have just a party time and just like brainlessly and thoughtlessly just enjoy this good time that you're experiencing now without any kind of thought of the future? Yeah, live that life if you want to. But I'll tell you right now that you live that kind of life, and by the time you're 35, your cell phone will not be ringing. Nobody's going to give a shit about you, okay? Except maybe your gay friends, okay? But no guy is going to give a shit about you when you're 37. The window that you have, the window of opportunity that you have is very short. And you've got to be figuring out now that you're 20, 22, 25, you've got to be figuring out now what kind of life you want to be living by the time you're 37, 40. Because the decisions you make now are going to determine where you land when you're 37, when no guy wants you.